ProQR just had news like 2 days ago.
Very excited to see that they submitted the CTA. They're going for, as you mentioned, they have an RNA editing program for primary sclerosing cholangitis and other cholestatic diseases. Why I think this program is a really good fit for them is they're making a de novo edit to the bile acid transporter in the hepatocytes. So with healthy volunteer data, this means that we're actually going to be able to see biomarker data that will give us a sense of their editing efficiency. So, that's something that we're really looking forward to. They're going to have data, I think it's multiple ascending dose data in healthy volunteers in about 60 patients by the end of this year. And again, that will give us a pretty good sense of, how their editing efficiency looks in vivo in hepatocytes.
All right, well, that should be pretty quick. The other two companies, of course, are Korro and Wave. Wave was the first in the clinic. Korro is also in the clinic now for alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency. Are we expecting data out of those companies soon?
Yes, absolutely. So Wave has multiple dose data for their 200 milligram cohort and their 400 milligram cohort. The 200 milligrams coming in the third quarter of 25. 400 milligram is in fall of 2025. Korro is a little bit earlier. They're going to have single dose data, and that will be sometime in the second half of 2025. I think, where this is going to come down to is people looking at GalNAc conjugated oligos, which is Wave, versus LNP, which is Korro. What we're hearing from KOLs is that they really want the MAAT to be in the range of 18 to 20 micromolar, which would be protective. That puts them in the range of a healthy, normal person.
Real quick, not to interrupt, but with those two delivery technologies, the big thing that investors are wondering is when are those curves going to separate? If they separate, both might succeed in their own ways, but do we know the time frame of when we're going to be able to compare those two programs head to head?
So this year we're going to get really fulsome data from Wave because they're having their multiple dose data, and then we're going to watch, are they getting successively greater levels of AAT with each dose. With Korro, it will really be the single dose data that we're following. The other differentiation would be, of course, safety. You do have some people who are concerned about an LNP in patients who may have existing liver disease just because of the inflammatory properties. So that'll be what we're following even more closely with Korro versus Wave. I think for either one, though, getting AAT in that 18 to 20 micromolar range, that's really the bar for success.